Good morning, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. So, in today's video, we are going to be talking about why you shouldn't be waiting. Don't wait for anything better. You must take advantage of your situation as you are living it right now. To sit around and wait for something to happen is literally waiting for death. Now, I'm going to tell a little bit of a story of a gentleman that passed away last week, close buddy who I worked with for a long time. And I think about some of the things that he had done throughout his life that put him on the road to where he ended up. And it's really a sad story. I don't really want to name him by his name. So we'll just call him, I don't know, K. All right. We'll just call him K. And so anyway, K was a grumpy old man, right? And I kind of liked the grumpiness of it. You almost kind of respected it to the point that you knew where he was going to stand on everything, and it was usually pretty negative on just about everything that he talked about. Hated lazy people, hated homeless, hated, politics, like especially, conservative politics. It was just like it was everything in the world he hated. And especially his boss, like he had no respect for his boss whatsoever. And it was sad to see it in a lot of ways, because when he was being helped the most, you could see that he was grateful for it. Like he was really thankful that the people who were helping him out in the hardest times, you could see that it was deep down how much he really, really appreciated and loved the help that he was getting. But to think about some of the things that he would say and talk about as far as like his relationship with his employer or the world or anything out there, like anything within his existence, it was always negative and always pushing against him, always pushing him down. And so I thought about that many times. I'm thinking, what is it that's going on that you need, man? Like, what is it you're waiting for? I mean, it's you, just you. You don't have a family. You don't have anything going on. It's just you. You're the one who's creating everything within your existence here. It's not the boss. It's not the world. It's not the people around. It's literally you. Like, what is it that you needed in your life in order to feel like things are better? Like, this is the proper way. And I think about it like he always sat at the bar. He didn't really eat good food, never went to the doctor, never did any of these things. And so as the years went by, his grumpiness really started taking its toll towards the end. And it was getting harder for him to even move, like literally physically move around. And then you could see the world was really starting to deteriorate around him. Like not only was his health, and you can see like just the physical deterioration and him getting thinner and harder to move around. It wasn't just that, but it was like other things in his life started to fall apart as well. His apartment, right, was sold, like the building was sold to another company, and they wanted to remodel the whole thing, so they essentially told him he had to leave. And finding another place was really difficult. Like he didn't know how to even do that. Like he was relying on other people to find him a place essentially. And although he did find a place, it was kind of way off, outside of town a little bit, which made it really hard for him to necessarily get back and forth to work after he had wrecked his car, right? I mean, out of all things, man, homeboy hit a cow, right? Boom. Totaled his car out, but it was a car that he had just recently purchased, making loan payments on. And now this is like something that's overwhelming. He doesn't even know how to deal with it. Like he doesn't know how to deal with the insurance, doesn't know how to deal with the fact that the loan wasn't covered. Like all this issues started to come up, and he had no way of getting back and forth to work. So I would help him out. And I asked him, man, what are you gonna do? So I don't know. Right. Well, you think about it, I mean, you're going to talk to lawyers, you're going to talk to insurance company, you're going to talk to a doctor, you're going to figure out what it is because you're like getting old and you're getting very tired and you can't move. What are you going to do? So, I don't know. So, drop him off from work, next day he'd be at work trying, you know, do his thing. Had a hard time, couldn't do it, right? Well, eventually got to the point he just, he had to get on Social Security, try to get on Medicare, all the help, right? Other people assisting him, trying to get him there. And takes a spill. He falls down. Right? He's already in pretty bad shape. So he's at home, falls down, goes up to the hospital. The hospital's just like, bro, when was the last time you seen a doctor? You are in bad shape. You're like riddled with cancer, got all these infections going on in your skin and your legs. The hell? So I don't know. So what were you waiting for? You think it was going to get better? He said, I don't know. I don't know. Well, as time went on, he didn't know what to do, didn't have any plans, and then he was gone. And so I think about that, and I was just like, 20 something years, probably better than that, almost 30 years, I bet you I watched this go down. Watched every decision he made, all the partying, all the bars, all the stuff, and all the grumpiness, like all the bad, like energy that would push out there, talking about how all these other people were doing essentially something wrong, or how wrong it was out there, or why it wasn't right. And never once in his world did he ever try to make anything right for himself. Like, I don't know what he was waiting for. He had the opportunity. He had plenty of network. It's not like he wasn't, in this exact same existence that we're all in doing. I mean, sure, not all of us have the same upbringing or maybe the same footing that everybody else has, but we're all walking through this world together, right? I mean, we're all got to make a decision. And so what I wonder is, like, what is it that a lot of people were waiting for? What was it he was waiting for? I mean, 30 years he was waiting for something. I don't know what it was. He didn't even know what it was. And at the end of it, he still couldn't answer it. He didn't know. It's like, what was the point of all that, man? Like, why did you even attempt to do anything in your life if you had no idea what it was that you were headed for? I mean, did you not have some experience out there that you were thinking, being hopeful for, anticipating, looking at, thinking about? I mean, just something at all? And I don't think he did. I think towards the end, he didn't know what he was going to do, and the only thing he could think of to do was just to show up. That was his only plan. I don't know if showing up is exactly like a plan that isn't going to have something else have plans for you. Like, if you don't have an idea of what you're going to do, maybe the universe does. And and since he didn't really have a plan, I don't think the universe really had any need for him anymore. It was sad. It was sad to see it go down. And I think about everybody who's like a teacher in your life. Everybody is, right? Everybody who's out there showing you what it is that could possibly exist in this world. Like, everybody is doing that at any given moment of every day. Even if you don't like them, they're teaching you something, right? You may like them, they're teaching you something. Even if you have nothing care at all, give or take it, there's still a lesson to be learned. And so I think about everybody in this world was put there on a purpose, right? What was that purpose? To teach me. Why was this in my existence? Why did I get to witness this? Why am I even talking this story right now? What was it that was happening there that I needed to learn a lesson from? Because obviously there was a lesson to be learned. I look back on those days of those conversations thinking, man, what is it that you were going to do? And I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. You don't know who you're going to talk to, don't know who it is that you're going to reach out for to, you don't know what it is that you can do with your skills, your efforts, your ideas, how it is that you can be helpful and useful in this world, but you certainly knew where the problems were. Right? Definitely knew that. I look back on that and I think to myself, man, if I ever find myself thinking and behaving that way again, I can see the path that I would be on. I could see how it is that that would deteriorate, how it is that you would end up sitting there in a hospital bed wondering why it is that you can't get up, wondering if there is even any hope of anything, and coming to the understanding that there probably isn't, there is no quality of life. And what is it that you want to do? I don't know. That's the only answer. I don't know. And what are you waiting for? I don't get it. I just don't get it. So I think to myself, man, there was a time I was sitting around waiting. I remember it. I remember I was thinking, man, the world sucks. There's so many things that are wrong. I'm waiting for things to get better. I remember doing it. I remember sitting around drinking and talking with people and smoking weed and had this great philosophy on how the New World Order screwed everything up for everybody out there. It was awesome, right? It was an awesome one. And I knew it. And it gave a lot of relief, actually, right? It did. It gave me a lot of relief. I was just like, hey, man, as long as I think about it this way, then it was their fault. And then I can drink this beer and I can be like, hey, man, that's the reason why everybody sucks. You know? You can see how these people think that way. You can see just the thought of it alone, just the anger and hatred and negative belief systems deteriorate you from the inside out. And so when I think about that and how I deviated from that road, where I let all that stuff go one day and I said, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to dive into that New World Order stuff. I'm not going to be the conspiracy theorist. I'm not going to be any of that. I'm not going to be anything anymore. I'm just like, I'm done. Right? And when I look back on it, I was thinking, man, what was it that I was really letting go of? I was letting go of the negative. I was letting go of the fear. I was letting go of the hatred. I was letting go of things in my life that were going to be associated with being sick. I was going to let go of the things that was going to be associated with being in deterioration. I was going to let go of the things that were going to be in that sort of energy and mindset. And the more I let go of that, the more I realized that there was a void to fill. And if you were avoiding the negative, and not necessarily avoiding the negative, but not focusing in on it, and you let that be the smaller part of your life, there's a void that gets created that needs to be filled with the positive energy if you just keep the negative small. And it's just what happens. It's like there's no other choice. There's literally nothing else that can actually take place if you do that. And this is what's great about understanding it on a different level is that, man, you can really see the path of decision making that really like change the course of outcomes. At any given moment within the last 30 years, K could have done something, right? But didn't. Every day it just showed up and hated it, waiting. Well, some people don't wait. Some people actually get up and do something. And maybe it wasn't the right decision, but you know what? Doing something is better than doing nothing because doing nothing is a guaranteed that it's going to be a negative that fills the entire void. But if you're doing something and you're putting the negative on the small, the something is the positive that is going to fill the void and it's going to have a reaction to the outcome of one that you weren't expecting. Nothing ever comes like nothing ever great ever came like, hey, I'm going to do it like, no, no, no. I mean, I guess some people do, but nobody ever says, hey, I'm going to do it 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is how awesome it's going to be at the end of it. Everybody was going for something and then found that as they were stepping into the adventure of what it is that they were looking at, following, pursuing, the passion that they were after, they found something much bigger in life that came from it. They didn't even realize that it would happen that way. It was just like this most amazing event that took place. You know, I wanted her to do this, and I mean, all of a sudden, boom, this happened, right? I answered a comment on a YouTube channel and met George Gammon. Right? Like, I mean, I didn't even read a comment. I just read a comment and thought, man, this guy's whatever. I go and check it out, and oh, my life changed, right? Like, things happen in the most amazing ways, and it's never the way that you had ever anticipated, but you know that if you're doing it in a positive fashion, then most likely you're probably going to have a positive outcome that comes from it. But if you think negatively about the entire situation, what are you going to get? You're going to get Benny up in the house with saying boom. That's what you're going to get. All right, how long have I been at this? 15 minutes now. I wanted to share that story because I just think about that since it happened last week, and how it is that everybody in our life is this teacher. And what is it that you're supposed to learn from them, right? Because even if it's something that you're thinking, man, what a waste, what an experience, what a horrible thing that has taken place here, there's a lesson to be learned there, and that was put in your life to teach you something. And if you didn't take anything from it, what is it that's happening there that you're going to experience again? Because these lessons in life are repeated until learned, and not always does it happen to you. It could be happening to you in a way that you're witnessing. Yeah. And I don't think people quite realize how valuable of a lesson that is being learned when it's something that you're witnessing. Right? Because if you're not taking a lesson from that, if you're not learning from other people what it is that could happen in your life, what it is that you can do, then you're probably going to end up missing out on a lot of opportunities, and you're probably going to end up stepping into a lot of pain. Yeah. And that's where really think about it. Everybody in this world is. It's like, man, why is this person in front of me doing this thing right now? There's a lesson to be learned here, and I don't get it. Right? Sometimes I do. All right, let's go and break some of this stuff down. Deplorable. My dog said that I'll be dead in 5 years, but my wife says that she won't let me die. I hope my wife is stronger than my dog. Dude, I think there's issues if you're listening to your dog actually use words. Yeah. All right, Benny is showing the love to Deja. All right, all-nighter. It's okay not to immediately know what you've learned. Sometimes it takes the next experience for us to realize the tool we got. Oh man, ain't that the truth, all-nighter? And that's one of the things that I really have to wonder about sometimes when I feel like the struggle coming on, and you're thinking, man, things are falling into a, a feeling of rut, a slowdown, a deterioration. Like, what is it that I am doing wrong here in thinking like I'm not doing as well as I once had? And then I also have to remember that not everything goes up constantly. Like, there is cycles to everything. Without the peaks, you wouldn't have, I mean, without the valleys, you wouldn't have the peaks to it. And so everything is a learning lesson. Like, you're in the valley because there is something there that needs to be learned. You need to go through the struggle of it in order to understand what the next step is. And that's really where I think, like, a lot of times, having gone through, like, I didn't necessarily go through like AA, but having gone through a sobriety transition, going from being an alcoholic to being in recovery, you got like this issue that you face because, like, when you quit drinking, you're thinking like you're going to just go on this like upward climb. It's like everything is going to get so awesome when you quit drinking, but actually you kind of fall into this deeper darkness that takes place because you realize, man, I've been drinking a lot to cover up stuff, and then you have to deal with all that, right? So you actually fall down a lot of times, and this is where people have the hardest time because that's where the struggle really takes place. It's not necessarily drinking every day and dealing with it, it's dealing with the issues and the why, and that's the reason why you're drinking. So it's, for most people, that's it. If they didn't have those issues, quitting drinking is actually pretty easy, right? Like, you got the addiction part of it, but once you kind of get over that part of it, if you didn't have any mental issues with it, then it's probably going to be fairly easy to kind of give up alcohol. Other people are going to have to struggle really hard with it, and that's where that valley is, and that's where most people just can't do it. They can't figure that part out because once you get through that, then things start getting better from it. They might witness somebody out there who's like, oh no, I quit drinking and it was just like the greatest experience ever, and I never stumbled again. I was like, okay, yeah, go piss on you, right? Nobody does it that way. So, no, not really. Actually, congratulations. That was a really good experience. I'm very happy for you. But for most of us, we have to actually try harder. Um, and that goes for anything out there. It doesn't really matter if it's alcohol. It's anything, right? It's literally anything out there. 9 of 10 won't give up responsibility of paying bills, and when they do, they get robbed. Nice, David, and someone else pay the stupid tax. Life is what happens when you're making plans. Yeah? Yeah, right. The cheapest lessons to be learned are from observing others. That really is, and I think about that. Like plans get ruined, but ideas stay, right? Don't let anybody ruin your plans. But keep the idea. Like, don't even let people know your plans. Right? Don't tell people your plans because the universe comes in and then ruins it for you, right? Everybody will step in and tell you why it can't happen, and you'll get all these roadblocks. But if you don't tell anybody your plans and you just execute them, then it's like one of the greatest experiences because all of a sudden there it is, and people are like, "Oh man, I didn't know you were doing that." I was like, "Yeah, because I didn't tell anybody, right?" Yeah, because as soon as you do, people are like, want to get in there and start disrupting you. So don't tell anybody your plans. Just start doing it. They might recognize. It's like, what are you doing over there? I was just like, I'm working on this thing. I was just like, how far are you going to take it? Nah, I got an idea. I don't have a plan. All right. All right, Simon, you've earned a dope and coke sesh. Oh, well, I appreciate it, Benny. All right, UE, younger people are concerned about cost of education and older about healthcare. Other Euro nations have low, no cost education, healthcare. Do you believe costs in the US cause unnecessary stress? I'm sorry, are those other nations kicking ass? Just saying, I mean, you might alleviate. Okay, here, hold on one second. Let me actually back it up a little bit because no, if you want to have an issue to deal with as an individual, there's three of them that will always be there, right? There's three of them because if you go and you look at history, and I love following history, especially when I look at history through economics, right? Because like to me, everything is an economic story. So when I think about history and I watch some of the documentaries, informational films on history, all right, I love some of the things that they talk about. And now one of them was this Roman tablet. Now I'm sure a lot of you have heard me talk about it. And this guy etched on this Roman tablet his three major concerns, right? Or back on this tablet back in the Roman days, right? He was just a common everyday dude, right? And he was talking about his life. And he had three major concerns that he was worried about. Where do I get my next meal? Is that not ever true for like I mean Cantillon essay, food conveniences and pleasures of life or wealth, right? Where do I get my next meal? This has been something that everybody has been concerned about since the history of time. Where do I get my next meal? What happens if I get sick? What if I can't do this? What if my health falls? What if I cannot perform? How do I get the money in? What happens if I get sick? How do I pay the rent? Right? Where does my next meal come from? What happens if I get sick? How do I pay the rent? These were the three major concerns that this dude wrote down, etched into a into a piece of stone for history to come back and look at. These were the three major concerns. Do you think that anything will be any different anywhere in the history of time going into the future? Where do I get my next meal? What happens if I get sick? How do I pay the rent? This will be forever. There is very little doubt in my mind. And so to think and say, "Oh, well, look at them, they're doing it." Right? No, they got a blip in time in which that they had this situation in which that they can give some sort of a semblance, give some sort of idea that this has taken place, but it's not. It's literally a temporary existence. It will not last, right? Because everything changes. We are going through a transition with money and how the money is operating through the system that is going to have some devastating effects for people who are waiting. They're waiting for things to get better. They're waiting for their job to get better. They're waiting for their income to get better. They're waiting for the healthcare to show up. They're waiting for their, all the things. They're waiting, they're waiting, they're waiting, they're waiting. And then as they're waiting, they're wondering why it is that it's getting harder and harder and harder. And that's why I keep saying, it was just like, yeah, that dude K, he waited too. And then I saw what he waded right into. He kept waiting. He kept waiting for things to get better. What are you waiting for? I don't understand. If you want better healthcare, go get better healthcare. Right? There's nobody out there stopping you from going and getting it. Now, it may seem difficult, it may seem hard, and you may say, it needs money. And then the walls start getting put in place. Every single time you say it, I can't because the government needs to. Boom, it gets harder and harder and more distant from you. It's right there. It's not like it doesn't exist. And the moment that we say that it's too difficult, it's too hard, I can't do it, I'm in fear, I'm like lost, I don't know. All right. This is exactly what is now holding you back from being able to acquire the things that you need in your life because of the energy that you're afraid of. You got to lean into tension. You got to lean into the idea that, man, I don't know what I am doing. I got to learn my lessons. I got to understand that this is going to be a painful experience if I screw it up. But then if I can get this right and I can learn it, then maybe something grand can actually come from it. But most people say, man, maybe I'll just wait for times to get better. Which one is, what are you going to do? All right. Are you going to live in fear, right? Waiting for things to get better? Or are you going to lean into that fear, lean into that tension and overcome it? It's like I don't know what it is that people are gonna do out there because when I read stuff, like I left a link down in the description. I was going to talk about this K-shaped economy, but really, this is it is K. It's like, you know, dead for most people out there. We're going to find that 80% of the people out there are going to be questioning how come it happened. Why is it that it's so difficult? We used to be this way. We used to be this awesomeness. We used to have all this greatness. We used to have this abilities. We used to have this, desire. We used to have. We used to. Where did it all go? And then we have to think back on it and we look and we're like, man, there was a different time. There was different things going on. We were behaving in different ways. We carried an energy that was much different than what it is that we have today. Before it was just like, man, what can we do to produce wonderful things? Now, what is it that the government can do to figure out the situation to provide me with something that I need? How different of an experience is this going to be? It's going to be huge, right? I think about it every single day on what it is that people are waiting for out there in order to acquire what it is that they need in their life. And I'm thinking, this world is full of abundance. It's like it has everything in the world is all there. But most people, when you think about it, they end up putting the problem. They're like, there it is. And now here, let me put a bunch of problems in front of it. And then that's the experience that they get from it. When if they had just used their imagination, put the idea in their head, and then go forth with what it would be to be in that energy, everything starts lining up to acquire it. I don't know how many people know this, but it's not a matter of being like, I don't know, some superhero or anything like that. It's actually pretty easy. It does take commitment, it does take belief, and it does take like honest, like true intentions within your soul to says, I really want this in my life. And then you put the imagination in your head and then you go forth through the nervous energy time of experience in which that you are that faking it till you make it idea. I hate the term faking it because I don't like being fake, right? People say, oh man, you're just an actor, you're out there acting all the time. And I'm like, I love being on stage and doing the whole acting bit, right? That's where I put it. That's where I want to do it. When I'm there, I'm in it. When I'm doing bingo, I'm in it. When I'm here on YouTube sharing what it is that I believe is taking place within the economy, this is me honestly sharing with you from the heart what it is that I think is going on. I don't have any notes or anything in front of me. I just come out here and just say it. And so when I think about what it is that we can do to move forward into our wonderfulness that we are imagining, you have to believe that there is an energy that you have to carry, and then know that if you are not having it, you're not in it, you don't have that belief system that you deserve it. By being in it and experiencing it, the more that you do it, the more you feel you deserve it. So when you're first there, it's uncomfortable. It feels weird. You don't like it. And you're like, man, what is this? I'm going to avoid it. I'm going to go back to my normal self, right? You get into it. People even say, you're strange, you're weird, get the hell out of here, or whatever. And you stay in it. Right? You stay in it and you keep it. And then pretty soon it becomes normal. It becomes your everyday experience. And you think, man, this isn't so weird anymore. Right? That's how it works. No matter what it is. I don't care what it is. Right? It's most people who don't have a belief system that they deserve it that ends up losing it. That's what really does it. Oh, hey man, I got some super chats. Let's go check it out. All right. Go Sox. Come visit Vermont homes. 100K in little towns. Really? Man, that would be nice. Simon, did you finally learn your lesson from speeding down Leif Erikson? I did. But what? I just got a vehicle that just doesn't speed. So how about that? All right, freeze-dried ice cream pepper, $5. Thank you so much. Started watching you years ago. Thanks for the great content. Your friend sounds exactly like my parents. I've wondered if it's just their generation. It very well could be. It could be a very much be a generational thing. Like, you have to think there was this weird cradle to grave thing that's taken place that a lot of people are almost to the point that they feel like almost righteous to or entitled. I don't know if necessarily entitled to, but it's almost like this is the way it needs to be or should be. And I think there's like a lot of argument towards whether or not that's actually going to happen. And to me, I'm thinking, ain't nobody who's going to be like, oh yeah, by the way, let's bring up Kay and figure out what he needs in his life, Like nobody does that. The only person who does that is you. And that's it. And now are there opportunities out there for people to take advantage of, like social safety nets or whatever? Absolutely there is. But if you don't pursue them, who does? That's the thing. It's almost like that becomes the job. Right? That's your job, is to deal with, what it is that society has offered out there and your way to acquire those things. Because if you didn't figure it out for yourself and you're anticipating that it's going to be some sort of entitlement that's going to take care of it, then you have to fight for the entitlement and you have to make sure that you get it all and you line it all up and you do all that, because that becomes the next job. Well, if you're mentally deteriorating, you don't have anybody to help you out with that, and you're, having a hard time thinking about what's next, good luck, right? I mean, what do it's just like, you didn't, like, I even think about it for myself. It was just like, man, if I get to a point in which that, like, when I met Gio Griffin, 90 years old, dude, sharp as a tack, right? Boom, boom. Like, he was just like, he didn't have any, like, slow responses. He was very quick, very alert, very understanding of the situation that we were in, everything about very alert. And I'm thinking, damn, I hope I'm that aware at 90, right? Like, I only hope that I'm that aware. As time goes on, that gets difficult, right? And so I think about that for myself. It was just like, man, who is it? What is it? How is it that that's going to look like if that was to take place? And I think to myself, holy crap, man, that's something that I put in my head that I actually imagine. What if it actually occurs? Right? So instead of thinking that way, I'm thinking, man, I'm just going to avoid that whole situation by creating an existence that if that does happen, it doesn't matter. I'm going to neutralize that idea, right? So how is it that I do that? I don't know. I'm putting it in my head with an imagination, and hopefully the universe will figure it out for me. But I think I'm heading in the right direction. You know what I mean? All right. We got $20 from, what are my glasses out here? What does that say? C Bonyo guy? All right, hey Yui, where are your thoughts on Kraken being given a Fed master account? Yeah, I think this is the direction in which that it's going. Like between Kraken, Coinbase, a lot of these exchanges that have, emerged and proven themselves over time to stay, essentially relevant. I think those things are going to be the on and off ramps from cryptocurrency to the dollar, um, in the stablecoin issuance kind of management area. So there's going to be a few of these things that come up, and I mean, you know, it to me, like, this is the obvious progression in which that it's headed down. So we're going to end up with a stablecoin issuance that eventually has cash removed from the system, and there's going to be institutions that are going to need to manage those stable coins and essentially be regulated by the government. And you can see this forming now, you know. So yeah, thank you. I mean, to me, it's just like it's gonna get there's gonna be more of those type of things happening, and it's gonna get more intrusive. I'm a very positive person, but the negative that flooring installers brought is much to be desired, and they don't even haul away the old carpet. I'm disgusted. Yeah, Deja, that's where it gets difficult. That's where it gets difficult because, like, it's a matter of people management and understanding the people within themselves. Like, everybody's essentially going to do as little as possible for the most as possible they can get, and that's, I think, just human nature within it. So if it isn't, like, completely defined and clearly communicated, and a lot of times, assumptions just kind of take over in a lot of ways, especially if the people that you're dealing with are charming in the presence, and, like, they make it sound like they're just going to take care of all the business, but really they only take care of what it is that they, were really intending on doing anyway. Like, this is an unfortunate part of, like, human nature, and it's not necessarily something that you should get, like, mad about, but more of just kind of understand that that's what happens, and you take your lessons from it. So the next time it's just like, okay, hey, with this, what is going to happen with the old carpet, right? And so I know, like, this time it sucks, but next time you'll know, right? And so that's the lesson that you learn from this person, is that even if they were very cool in the present and everything else, you learned a lesson from them that says, hey man, they didn't necessarily do what it is that I thought that they were going to do. Is that their fault, or was it my fault for taking the assumption instead of being clearly communicating it in the beginning? Now, again, I'm not trying to say that was on you, Deja, not by any means. I'm just talking in a general kind of way. But that's, like, again, how it is that I learn the lessons myself. It's just like, okay, so if I had a situation like that where it's just like they didn't do it, and it was just like, well, I didn't really necessarily clearly communicate that in the beginning. I deal with this in sales all the time. Right? Like, for example, somebody says, "Oh man, yeah, can you go ahead and bring in some, the special order, whatever?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no problem." And they're like, "Okay, yeah, because I need about three-quarters of that." And I'm like, "Well, I don't stock this. So if you're going to return 25% of this, I'm going to tell you right now, there's a 20% restocking fee, and it has to happen within the next 2 weeks." All of a sudden, that order got very tight, right? And it got very accurate. Oh, well, okay. Well, that helps, doesn't it? Now everybody's going to be happy here because you get the right material, you get it at the right price, you don't get charged anymore. There's no surprises to it, and I don't get punished, and you don't get punished. Everybody gets to have a great day. So sometimes when people just assume, oh man, I'll just order a little bit extra and just return what I don't need, and like, don't do that to me, right? I learned my lesson a long time ago how this works. I'm going to explain this in the beginning how it works. Everybody's going to be understanding of how this works. And if there's no complications to it and you want to order just slightly less than what you need, so I can bring in just a little bit more in a few more days, and we can complete the order, and everybody's happy, and you get the paid and I get paid, and nobody has to return anything, and everybody's happy with it. Isn't that a better way? It works so good. Yeah. Lessons learned. uh, let's cruise down here to the bottom. DK4, damn, I'm here for you. All right, Deja, don't pay them until if you don't hold up their end of the bargain. Don't pay them, take advantage of you, and don't take advantage of them. It's fair. Yeah, no, I mean, if they said that they were going to haul it off, then yeah, it was just like, well, I'm not going to pay you the last of the check until you do. I mean, that's reasonable. All right. I'm dying of kidney disease, and I don't think putting mushrooms into my body will help me live longer at this point. Thanks, though. Damn deplorable. That's sad to hear, man. All right, Simon is right, though. Communication is key. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like it just makes it so much easier, but then you learn it from the past. Like just for example, I had somebody call, ask me one time. They came in, they're like, how much is torch down roofing? Now, anybody who knows anything about torch down roofing, it's generally used on a flat surface. So if you have a flat roof, like a commercial building, then, torch down is generally one of the type of applications that you use. There's many of them, but torch down is one of them. So he comes in, he asks me, hey, how much is torch down roofing? I tell him, and he says, oh, okay. Well, can I get a break on a pallet? And I'm like, on a pallet? You want a whole pallet of torch down? And he's like, yeah, can I get a break if I buy a unit? And I'm like, there's no project around, like, there might be a couple of projects around that could take that. There's no build, like, we're in town, there's a small town, right? We're like, this is that story. There's not going to be that many buildings that can need that much torch down. And so when I thought of that, I'm like, what the hell are you working on, man? Most people buy like 5 or 6 rolls, right? Maybe a little bit more if they have something else going on. But generally, like commercial buildings like that, it, this wasn't happening here. I could tell that he was wanting rolls. And so when I was thinking about that, I'm like, how much, like, what are you doing? Like, immediately I questioned it. It was just like, you don't need this much torch down. There's no way. Right? He was looking for the break on the pallet and then return what it is that he didn't want, or at least get the breakdown price. And I could tell that right away. I had another guy, like, immediately. I'm like, dude, first of all, we kind of screwed up already because there's no place here. Like, if you were asking me for a pallet of roofing, maybe, right? We can talk about something there. But generally, like, a pallet of torch down isn't going to be something that would be needed in our area. Not like this. And so, is it possible? Yeah, but this was a very questionable circumstance. And immediately I figured that out, right? I told him, I was just like, well, I'll sell you the pallet, whatever, but if you return them, I'm going to charge you a restocking fee. And if there's any damage to these rolls, I'm not going to take them back at all, right? Well, yeah, all of a sudden, and it turned into about 6, 7 rolls. Same thing happens with a lot of orders. Had a guy come in, he was like, man, I got this huge ranch. I'm going to buy all these beams, right? And he put together a freaking package of like $60,000 worth of pressure treated beams and poles and all kinds of stuff for barns and fences and everything else he was going to do for this big old ranch, project that he was doing over in Washington, right? I live in Oregon. And so all this stuff, like, I mean, it was like, man, I was like, okay. And I took it down and I cut the margin thin. Like, I mean, it was just like about as tight as we could get it. And he says, okay, I can't take it all at once. And I was like, okay, here we go. All right. So now he just wants to take a small section of it, but get that price. And I said, no, the only way we can do this is if we do the entire order, right? Bill it, I'll store it here, and you can take it at your leisure. And I said, I'll be willing to stock that much material if you're talking this big of an order. I'll use my square footage here at the yard in order to transfer it up to you over the course of the summer or whatever you need. Big, huge order. Totally willing to do that. He said, I'll think about it. Never saw him again. Right? Because he didn't want that much material. He just wanted that one small section, but he wanted me to believe that he had this huge order ahead, that he was going to be buying $60,000 worth of beams off of me and come and shock me with this huge order and say, okay, but I only want this first section to begin with, and then we'll do business as we go on. And I'm like, sounds great. If you just want to take that small section, let's buy the whole package. I mean, if you really want to do business with me and you're really anticipating doing this, pull the trigger. Let's do it, man. I'll cut the margin incredibly thin, take very little profit off of this, store it for the entire summer while you take the pieces that you need. Let's make this happen. Never saw him again. It was just like, yeah, because you weren't really interested in doing that, were you? You know? And this is how, I mean, this is how I learned my lessons over time. And people, all right, this is where human salespeople are better than AI. Oh yeah, big time, man. Big Hill, you're at. You're right. Sadly, I probably took so much mushrooms that I probably still have micro doses going on right now. Actually, that's kind of true. I knew a kid who actually took so many one time. Like, well, he was kind of messed up to begin with, but he was never quite right after that. That can do anything better than human almost. Yeah, damn, the games people play, you want it at this price, you buy it now. Oh yeah, no, man. Who was that? Deja? Yeah, Deja. Absolutely. Like sometimes it's really easy, like I mean it's people say, "Hey, can I get a price break?" And it was just like, "Absolutely, you can. If you want to put the whole package together, you want to pick it up, what do you like all these ideas on what it is that we can do to get you a price break. Let's do it." Right? But when people try to be sneaky at it, that's when it really starts to fall apart, right? Like, I mean, it's just like because then I have to get in protective mode, and that means like I'm protecting essentially the store and the margin, the profit margin. I mean, if I didn't do that, what good am I, right? What good is the entire thing? So that's really where it comes down to, is just understanding that the customer wants the best price. I want to sell the customer a product. I want to sell it to them at the best price that I can still make a margin at and they can make a profit at and they can be happy and I can be happy and everybody's happy and that works, right? Like this is, it's not rocket science, right? If you want to buy a lot from me, I want to sell you a lot. I'll cut the margin thinner if you want to buy a lot from me and you want to make it easy. Cool. I'll cut it even thinner, right? Like you want to come pick it up. You want to say, hey, man, don't touch that material. I want my guys to touch it. Just put it there and I'm going to come get it and you won't have to mess with it. Holy crap, man. You know how a dream of a customer that would be for me? It would be like, dude, your margin is now as thin as I can possibly do it without getting fired. Right? Like, people know how to play the game. They do that. They'll be like, dude, I'm picking it up. Don't worry about it. Let me know as soon as it's get here. I don't want it like off their truck onto my truck, okay? And it would be like, oh God, you're a dream. Perfect. It was just like I don't even have to touch it. I don't even have to look at it that long. My forklift literally operates with like, 30 seconds worth of machinery. Oh, dude. Right? Like that makes me excited. Makes them excited. If everybody's excited, man, talk about doing business. Let's get it done, right? Did I get all the super chats? I saw another one just popped up. I just want to make sure. All right, what time is it? Okay, I got a class I got to go to here in a little bit. I got two more acting classes to do, and then that one's over. Just sending some good vibes from Joshua Tree. Thank you so much, Gunnar. I really appreciate it. Down here visiting my parents after spending a month in Iowa for work. So many cornfields. Yeah, I bet, man. Thank you so much for the 4.99, man. I really appreciate the support. We got $31.99 in super chats. You guys are so rad. All right. Nobody's quite right in this world. Nobody's quite right in this world. You're damn right about that. All right. Always ask for free delivery. Um, yeah, and that's one of the things that I actually offer up, right? It was just like somebody that was just like, man, they're questioning it. I generally will charge for delivery, right? I mean, it's just the time, the driver, and everything else. But if the project is big enough, right, then that is something that I can void, right? I can say, hey, man, we're not going to charge for the delivery on this particular one because your project, you got a deck package you're having delivered with all the decking, the framing, the blocks, the concrete, the handrail, and all that other stuff. Yeah, we're going to avoid that delivery fee, that's something that can happen. For other people, like, they order this door or something. Well, doors are a pain, like, especially if it's like a patio door or a double door or something like that. I already assume I'm going to deliver it. Right. And so when people are like, hey, man, how much does it cost? It costs this much. And you're here in town? Yeah, totally deliver it to you. Right. It's something that I will generally offer up to it, especially on things that I just know that the customer is going to have a problem delivering or picking up, a double door patio sliders, 20-foot long material or something like that. Like I just assume I'm delivering it. So I'll kind of find out where the project is before we even get started, just so I kind of know what I have to put my margin at, you know? Uh, I never got an estimate to see how much professionals would charge, but I have to admit, after taking off all the baseboards, I've been working on the floor for about a month in my spare time. Yeah, baseboards are tough. Like, I have a hard time doing, like, I like doing window trims because you're pretty much standing the entire time, which is pretty good. But getting up and down, up off the floor that many times, it's like baseboards can be very tough. I find that if you have two people, one of them like installing and the other one cutting, then it gets a lot easier because then you can just kind of, just stay down and stay up, Uh, I figure I have put in about 120 hours so far. Jeez, I estimate I got it done by a professional. It would have been upwards of 15 to 20,000. Alrighty. How long do you guys want to hang out for? I can give you about another 10 minutes. We got 63 likes, 83 people watching because, this is a little too sensitive of a video, I think, for a lot of people in the very beginning. But I think it's really important to understand that we shouldn't be waiting for anything, right? We need to be moving. We need to be active. We need to pursue and at least have the imagination of something that is much grander than what it is that we are experiencing, even if it isn't like grand to somebody else. It's grand to us, right? It's important to us. Maybe that's just fishing on the bank of a lake or river somewhere and just enjoying the outdoors, and that's the experience that you really want to get, and you can't seem to find that. Maybe that's the dream that you have. Other people might be flying on private jets or something like that. We are not here to judge what it is that you want for your experience. We're just here to be in the right understanding, energy, and then looking at economics in a way that then we can position ourselves in accordance to it. Most people are going to think about what it is that the government can do, what it is the banking system can do, all these other things that can be done out there, and they are waiting, and waiting is dangerous. It's going to fail. I guarantee you it's going to end up like K, you know? Uh, I also live in New Mexico, one of the poorest states. I think the poorest possibly, so your product probably costs more, not to mention labor. Deja, DK4, I'm struggling right now also with this quarter round that they attached to the other quarter rounds, and it's coming out because I have to install baseboards. Oh, yeah, you need all-nighter up there, Deja. I'm actually drinking grape Kool-Aid. Yes, I love grape Kool-Aid right now, so I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. As long as you made it, all right? As long as you made it. That's the only thing. Nice. Crappie are fun. Crappie are fun. That's probably one of the funner fish to actually for like just enjoying going out and catching and just fishing in general. Everything else is kind of a struggle and a technique, but crappie is like just enjoyable and fun. It's like camping type fishing, like what the family would want to do. And, the springer's going to be running here pretty soon, and I'm looking forward to that. Like, I hope Freddie gets into some of those guys. And those are like the funnest fish, and they are like excellent. The best tasting ones. All right. Damn good tasting fish too. Yeah. Good morning. This is coming from the Bullet Spirit. All right. It's my understanding the floor guys look at quarter round like it was done by the homeowner. I would try to save the older quarter round just in case. I'm pretty Depression era with questionable demo materials till the job is done. Yeah, the older the house, like we have that problem a lot here in Astoria, is we get a lot of people who are, buying really old homes and they're trying to renovate them and they're looking for a particular molding that hasn't been made for like, 80 years. And so they're like, how do I match this up? And I'm like, you can't really, like, if you don't somebody who can make it for you and you can't make it, and getting like, I mean, I can have it made, but getting like a small piece, this is going to cost you literally hundreds of dollars, maybe, maybe, who knows how much. And most people, like, they don't even try for it because, they're not going to pay hundreds of dollars for this one little piece just so they can make it look right. And they have to figure out something else in order to either repair that old piece or be very cautious going into the future about what it is that they do when they do their demos and, their remodelings on their house, knowing that they won't be able to get these old trims and these old moldings again. But it's something that I deal with quite a bit. Yeah, people, and I love my favorite. Here's another customer service story, right? So customers come in, and again, Astoria is 200 plus years old, right? So here they come in with this old molding that hasn't existed for 80 years, and they're like, "Hey, do you have anything close?" My favorite word, close. Right? And I said, "Well, I have crown molding. I have it that's about that wide." And it's somewhat similar in the way that it is shaped, but it's not really that close. I mean, close kinda. And they're like, "Oh, well, as long as it's close." Right? And it's just like, they are not gonna think this is close, right? And they're so hopeful. They are like, "Oh, please be it," right? And you're looking at this thing, and it's like, literally like a hundred-year-old piece of molding. And I'm like, "Okay, let's go, bud. I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna be close, but it's not gonna work for you." And they get down there and they're like, "Oh, no, that ain't gonna work." And it was just like, yeah, because you need it to be exact, right? Not close, exact. There's a difference, right? It's the same shape. It's kind of like, looks similar to each other. It's close, but you need exact, not close. Right? That's the difference inside of it. My other favorite, standard. Right? Oh, can you get me a window? Yeah, it's like 3, 4 foot standard. It's just like, oh, that's a good one. You want me to just order a 3 foot by 4 foot window, and if it doesn't fit, you still own it? How do I measure it? Yeah, there we go. Okay, there we go. Now we're gonna get. Now we're getting somewhere. uh, uh, let's see. If you want to be lean and mean, eat your dines. Uh, let's see here. My house is 53 years old. I'm only the second owner. Custom built home by a heating and plumbing company. It was built for their parents. That sounds like a quality home. I would imagine it's probably well insulated. All right, especially Kanakanik River, Bristol Bay, sockeye salmon, world class. Yeah. 3 months till I go up there to catch more. Oh, man, time flies. 100% salmon. Yeah, salmon really does have, like, I mean, being on the Columbia River is, and being so close to the ocean, it's just like seafood so plentiful around here. Like, it is not uncommon to have pretty much as much crab as you want, as much salmon as you want, as much sturgeon as you want, razor clams, like everything is just here in abundance, massive amounts of it. And I don't even really give it the consideration on how awesome that really is to have that here, because it was so much throughout my entire life. It was just like, here, do you want another salmon fillet, another some more, whatever. It was always there. And when I think about how, like, much people really love it when they don't have that kind of access to it, it really does make me feel like, man, I love being in this area because I really like it, right? I mean, I love salmon, I love all the seafood and all that other stuff. Like, if anybody ever asked me, what is it that you would eat for the rest of your life? I couldn't tell you exactly what it would be, but I'm pretty sure it would come from the ocean. So I'm like really into it. growing up here was perfect for me. And then I do realize, man, there's places in this country where that's not the luxurious experience that they get, right? I get that luxurious experience from being here, and I really appreciate it too. But then, like, I mean, I guess I would appreciate it too if I was like in Montana eating steaks or something like that. It'd be like, hey, man, all the steaks you want, right? I don't know, maybe not. All right. You know what the plans are? Yeah, I have videos and everything I can send you, so we'll talk from there. I'll send you them now. Oh, you guys are planning up. All right. Well, all right. Deplorable. When I removed the old flooring, I had to remove 2 layers of flooring. That's why it took me so long, Simon. Yeah. All righty. Are we good, guys? You want to keep going? It's an hour into this live stream. We got 100 people watching with 73 likes. I think an hour is probably really good for this one. Who we got? Oh, Rink's Rentals. Right on, man. Taking my dad on salmon fishing charter for his retirement up in Alaska this June. Can't wait. We don't get that in Ohio. Right on, man. Well, after you do the Alaska trip, if you want to do another one, you should consider going to the mouth of the Columbia. Again, big time salmon fishing there, and it's a lot of fun. And there's a lot of guides. A lot of guides out there. My luxurious experience is to go to the beach in winter because it's 90 degrees inland. That would be nice. Just showing up what was wasted for those of us in the back. Time. Time was wasted. Don't waste your time. Get moving. Don't wait. Man. What time is it? Okay, 10 o'clock. You guys are awesome. Got the courses launched. Not the course. Got the course, the beginning, for the credible threat theory, the beginner's course, like the absolute foundation for understanding the credible threat theory. I have now launched those courses. They're, what was it, 7 modules, about 4 or 5 minutes a piece. So it's about 35 minutes, they're a half hour or so to get through all of them. They are available at the UE University, which is the school community. I also made them available for the UE Collective, which is like a $50 YouTube membership portion. Like I have the dollar membership that, for the regular, membership to the YouTube channel here where I, do the breakdowns of the monetary policy speeches and stuff. That's $1 a month, but then I had this upper level. And so I figured I'll put the courses up there. So anybody who wants to, take part in contributing to the support of the Uneducated Economist, I do have those courses now available up at the UE Collective, which again is that higher level membership portion of the channel. But school community is much better in my opinion. That's $20 a month. You have access to all the speeches that I have collected, and well, not all of them, but a good portion of them highlighted so that you can go and review them for yourself. And I have that beginner's course for the credible threat theory, so that once you have internalized the idea behind the credible threat theory, the foundation of it, it's going to make internalizing the rest of the information so much easier. You're going to look at you're not going to even start, you're going to it's going to change everything about the way you start viewing the Fed and the monetary policy and everything else out there. It's pretty cool. Not the greatest audio, right? I'll admit that, but that's okay. It's not the audio part of it. It's the information behind it. And we will get better as we put these courses together, because I'm very excited about the next ones, getting those, outlined and getting ready to deploy the information that I know is like the real good juicy stuff for the credible threat theory. So yeah, take part in that community, be part of it. It's awesome. UE Collective, or in my opinion, the better one, the school community, the UE University. All right, you guys are awesome. Thank you for being here on Uneducated Economist. You guys let me know.